Welcome to Property Mama Adventures in Real Estate. This is where I share some of the goings on that happen in the real estate industry. If we've not met before, my name is Wendy Chamberlain and I am a buyer's agent, buyer's advocate and vendor advocate here in Melbourne, Australia. And let me tell you, over my past 28 years in real estate, I've seen a few things going on when it comes to what goes on behind the scenes. So today I was going to share with you a couple of stories of some properties that we were getting ready for sale and what happened with those. The first one is actually my own property, and this was a few years ago, and this was my first time that I ever bought. So I was putting it back on the market to sell it. So the property had been rented, and so we had the tenant move out of the property, and they'd done an exit clean. But what we were doing a final clean to fix up the property before we had the photos done, and then we were going to put it on the market to auction the property. So the property was pretty much clean. It was just a final spruce up that we needed to do just to remove some dust and things like that. So I had the day before I'd brought in some items for staging. So we were going to style the home, and I'd put those into one of the bedrooms. So they're out of the way of where the cleaner was going to be coming through and cleaning the property. Or so I thought. So we had polished boards through the property, and in the bedrooms there was carpet. And so I put these items that I'd brought into the property the day before, leaned them against the wall in one of the bedrooms on the carpet. Now, we're talking original artworks that had been professionally framed, and I brought them in because I was going to hang them on the walls once the clean had been done and get the property ready for styling, and then we were going to take the photos. So that was the day before. So next morning, which is when the cleaner was coming. Now, this cleaner had been suggested by the real estate agent. So I said, "You've got a cleaner?" And they go, yeah, we've got a cleaner. So I arrive at the property, and it was early in the morning, and the real estate agent had a look on his face, shall we say, and I looked at him, and I said, "What's wrong?" He says, "Just go and have a look." So I walked into my property, and I have no idea what this guy thought he was doing. So, as I said, he was just supposed to be cleaning the property, a simple clean. He had basically washed the entire property. We're talking like, the gurney that you use to wash a driveway? He had taken one of those to the walls in the property. So all the walls were dripping wet. Like, we're talking dripping wet, onto the floorboards and onto the carpets in the bedroom, in the bedrooms. Not only that, and so I've walked in and, wow, I just burst into tears because I'm like, what have you done to my house? And additionally to that, in the toilet, so there's a separate toilet to the bathroom. The toilet was separate. The walls, the paint on the walls in the toilet was oil-based paint. Now, you may know, or you may not know, that oil and water don't mix. And when you wet oil-based paint on a wall, it bubbles, it blisters. That looked like a bloody moon landscape. The entire toilet walls were all of them were blistered and bubbling. The guy's standing there, and he goes, "Oh, you must have oil-based paint on your walls." Like, no shit, Sherlock. And you know what? If you'd asked me, number one, I could have told you that there was oil-based paint on the walls. Number two, I would have said, "Mate, don't gurney my house. Don't gurney the entire inside of the house." It was dripping wet. As I said, I burst into, I was just in shock but about what this guy had done to my house. And I looked at the real estate agent, and he was just like, and I was in tears, and I'm going, "What have you done? What have you done? What have you What were you thinking? But it gets better because, I said I'd put some of the staging items into the bedroom, which was out of the way because the carpets didn't need to be touched. The walls didn't need to be touched. But he'd gone and he'd sprayed the walls. So the carpet was wet. And my artwork, which was sitting on the carpet, leaning against the wall really carefully, because I walked in and really carefully leant it against the wall so it didn't get damaged, was all was water damaged. Oh my God. So where did you get this guy? And he goes, oh, we've never used him before. So what, you're going to use him as a guinea pig on my property? Wow. Incredible. The whole house was just wet. Yeah. So he got sent his marching orders. He said, we don't need you, and you can go. I can't believe that you did that to my house. Unbelievable. So we ended up getting towels. I went flying down. This was the first thing in the morning. I went flying down to the local op shop. And if you've got towels, because I didn't have any towels on me, because I didn't expect that the cleaner would make my house into a pool, which is what he had done. So I dashed to the op shop, and I ended up going to a couple of op shops and grabbing towels and coming back and just putting towels everywhere, while I'm trying not to lose my shit at this guy. Yeah, wow. So ultimately, the house was clean because it got washed. I don't even know who thinks to do that to a property, that you literally gurney the inside of a house. So we cleaned up the house. The photos had to get delayed, obviously. And yeah, we ended up fixing up the house, auctioning the house, selling the house. So that was fine. So that was a bit of an adventure there with a, oh my goodness me, I don't even know what, yeah, with the cleaner. Woo. Okay, I've got to calm down. I get agitated about it now. I had not thought about that for years and years. When I was thinking today, what adventures can I share on my Property Mama adventure in real estate? I thought that one came up. There's another one I wanted to share with you as well. Wow, so we're a vendor advocate, which is a seller's advocate. So we support people that are looking to sell their properties. Oftentimes when they don't have the time, or they don't like dealing with real estate agents, which is why they bring me and my team in. So Chamberlain Property Advocates, that's what we do. We deal with real estate agents. We buy houses, we sell houses. So this particular property was in Maribyrnong in Melbourne, and it was a multi-level townhouse. And on this particular day, we're getting the photos done. Now, taking it back a step. In order to get the property ready for market, and as often happens when people want to sell their properties, there's bits and pieces that they want to fix up in a property just to make it presentable. And you might, like, you know what? One of the simplest things you can do is paint your property. If you paint the property, it gives it a nice, fresh thing. So, a little tip for you. So this property had some, over time, there'd been some water had come into some of the windowsills, so that there was some little bit of like a cracking on the windowsill. When wood gets wet, it swells, and so that got repaired and got painted. And there were some other bits and pieces throughout the property, just minor things, little things, but they just needed to be fixed up, because the thing is, something that's minor, a buyer might come in and see it and think, well, what else is wrong with the property? There may not be anything else wrong with the property, but it casts a doubt in their mind. So it's good to, if you've fixed something and patched it, you paint it. We actually just done that recently for another property that we're selling for a client, that at some point in time, there had been a leak in the roof, and they had fixed the leak and they'd patched the hole and everything like that, but they hadn't gone in and painted it. So we had somebody go in and paint it, because it just removes, there's nothing wrong with that property anymore. It's been fixed. There's no issue anymore. But you walk into a property and see a patch on the roof that doesn't match the paint. So it's missing the paint. It's been patched. You go, what happened? I don't want to buy a property. There's a problem, which there's not. It's been fixed. But anyway, so we'd had some minor repairs done. So in each of the bedrooms, like I said, it was over 3 levels. So on the ground level, you walked in, there was the garage, then you went up the stairs, and that's where the living dining area was, and you went up again, and that's where the bedrooms were on the top level. and the stairs were carpeted. I think there was floorboards where the kitchen living area was, and then upstairs, which was where the bedrooms were, was carpeted with the bathroom and things like that. All right, so we had those repairs done, and this was the day we're getting the photos taken. So I've arrived in my car, and the photographer is there. The real estate agents met the photographer. The photographer is there, is taking the photos of the property, and my phone rang as I was getting out of the car, and so I took the call, and I'm on the phone. I'm talking to the person before I went over to the property to talk to the photographer. And I'm just chatting away, maybe 5 minutes, chatting away to somebody on the phone, etc. All right, finished the call, went over to the photographer. He happened to be at the front. He was doing the facade shots at that point, and he's showing me the camera, and we're looking at the photos and everything. And I said, okay, I'm just going to have a look. I'm going to go and check that those things that we needed fixed in the windows, particularly, had been addressed. And I said, okay, all right. So walk up the stairs. Real estate agent was there. All good. And there were other minor things on that level, on the kitchen dining level. Went up the stairs again, and went into the bedroom on the left. Went over to the window, checked it had been fixed. Terrific. Walked back through along the hallway to the bedroom at the front of the property. It was a 2-bedroom property. Like I said, a townhouse over 3 levels. Went over to the window, checked that it had been fixed. Terrific. Walked back down, went into the bathroom, checked something that was needed sorting out in there. That was fine. The real estate agent was walking around with me. All good. Start heading down the stairs and go down the first level. We're at the kitchen dining level. And I'm getting to the bottom of those stairs, and the real estate agent said to me, she goes, "You've got something on your shoe." I go, "What?" She goes, "You got something on your shoe." Oh my God. When I was outside on the phone, because I parked the car, and there was the nature strip, and there was grass on the nature strip, and I was standing on there just chatting away. You know how you kind of just you're just mindlessly moving as you're on the phone. I stepped in dog poo. Oh my dear, dearie me, and it was a really big dog. And then, without knowing it, I've gone into this house and walked through the entire house. So not just to some of the common areas. I went into the bedroom, to the window, right through the bedroom, and then right through the hallway, and then going over to the other bedroom, over to the window, right to the edge, and coming back. And I'm like, oh my God. I go, do you know someone that does steam cleaning, like a professional steam cleaner? We've got to get the carpets cleaned. She said, yeah, we know somebody. I'm like, oh my God, I was mortified. Wow. So we organised to get the carpet steam clean. Obviously, I paid for that. I got them in as fast as I could to sort that out, pay for that, and that was fine. So I jumped on the phone. So our client was working. So I jumped on the phone and just let her know that I was organising a professional steam cleaner of the carpets, because it was my fault. I walked in, it was my fault. But I rang her and left a message. And then, because like I said, she worked shift work. So I rang and left her a message. So she would often take a long time. What's a long time? It'd be a number of hours, or might have been the next morning or whenever, that she would bring me back. So when she rang me back, that was the first opportunity I had to tell her about what had happened. And she says, "Oh, okay, that explains." Because she had a puppy. She had a puppy that she was toilet training, and the puppy, because she hadn't rung me back for me to tell her what was going on, the puppy was going around and piddling everywhere. I mean, oh my God. Anyway, she was fine with it. Yes, as you can see, I was mortified with that. Wow. Yes. So these type of things can happen. Yeah, wow. Yes. Yeah. So there's just a couple of interesting stories that have happened when we've been getting properties for sale. Because all kinds of things can happen. You're dealing with humans, and there's a process to get a property ready for sale, and oftentimes we're having to do a lot of decluttering of properties. So one of the ones that we did work with, the person had been put into care because they'd become incapacitated, and we were appointed by the solicitor to get that organised. So we went into the property. So we had to organise to get the property fixed up, and then we styled the home and got it ready to sell. So that is something else that we can do also, but it's a process, it's an absolute process. And it's also a part of the shenanigans of working with real estate agents as well. So let me just share. I mean, this is why we get appointed as the buyer's advocate, as a buyer's agent, to help with help our clients buy properties, because you're out in the wild west there sometimes dealing with real estate agents. So I had a conversation yesterday with a real estate agent, which was interesting. Now, this agency brand may be one that recently got done for underquoting. Could be. Anyway, so when we're hunting for properties, we speak to the real estate agents, and this particular agent I'd not spoken to before. So rang, left a message. He called me back, and I said, we've got a client looking to buy a property. This is the spec they're looking at, this type of property. There's the suburbs, which are the suburbs that he operates in. And I said, this is our budget. And he said, oh, have you had a look at such and such street? And I said, no. And I'm on the phone with him, I'm calling up, bringing up the property address. Now, I have given him an indication of what our client's budget is to spend to buy a property. Now, it is my experience that when you're dealing with clients that are looking to buy a property, I talk about there's three moving parts. There's the budget, there's the suburbs they want to live in, and then there's the type of property. So generally, it's the budget that doesn't move. So oftentimes, you've got a budget of whatever your amount is, and then you have to decide for the suburbs that you want, this is the type of property that you can get. Or if you have your heart set on a type of property, then these are the suburbs that you have to be in. So budget generally doesn't move. And if it does move, it only moves a little bit, but generally it doesn't move. So I've given this agent the budget. And he said, look at such and such street. So I call it up, like I said, and it's got the guide price. Now, the guide price is 100 to 200,000 over the budget I said my client had. I went, that's over our budget. And he goes, oh, it's about to have a price reduction on it because they've obviously thought it was worth, or maybe it was the vendor thought it was worth more than the feedback from the buyers. So that's what happens in the market. If your property is priced too high and the vendors, the buyers are not seeing value of where that is, then your property won't sell. It will sit there. So obviously they've had this property for sale for a number of weeks at a certain price point. And interestingly, I spoke to another agent yesterday, and he had said that it had been even higher. So they dropped it at least once, I think. And he said, I was going to have another price adjustment. I went, oh, okay. He said, so if your client has this amount, that'll buy it. It was still 50,000 over. 50,000 over. I mean, okay, mate, you want to just give me another lazy 50 and my client will buy that house from your client? Makes me laugh because like 50,000 is not a small amount of money, but and I've given you an idea of like what the client's budget is, right? And it's 50 grand over where you're going to adjust the price. There's no guarantee of that. When I said to him, that's still 50,000 over my budget's price. And he said, well, he says, well, you never know. Get them to have a look. They can make an offer. Do you think that vendor is going to accept an offer after having reduced their price 50,000 under that again? My experience is no, depending on the market. In the market that we're in, I don't think that would happen. I don't think that would fly at all. So I did show it to my clients and said, look, this property is getting a price reduction. This is the price now. I still think it's going to be at least 50,000 over where you are. I'll leave it with you. If you want to go have a look at it, you can, because we can make an offer. So here's the thing. That agent most likely thinks if we make an offer that we would have more. Well, to buy that property, we probably would be right at the top of our budget. So we don't have more. But then he gets to say to his vendors, see, look, I gave you an offer. I brought you an offer. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. I was talking. So anyway, I've sent that to my client. They're going to have a look at it. Let's see. Let's see. They'll probably think it's amazing and want to buy it and not be able to afford it. I've warned them. I've said, you can't afford this property. I'm just letting you know this is a conversation I had with the agent. Anyway, I was talking to another lady. When we talk about agents, and I've spoken previously about vendors as well. So there is probably a mix with that property. If it's going to be dropped 200,000, he's saying, well, actually 150. He's saying if it dropped 150,000 that we could buy it, but that's still 50 grand over our budget. So still, it's a lot of money. So there's probably a mix there on what the agent has said, possibly to win the listing, but then there's likely what the vendor is thinking their property is worth. Because I can tell you, every single vendor that I speak to, that we work with, generally, well, not every, look, 99%, shall I say, think their property's worth more than it is. You know how much your property's worth? What the market's prepared to pay for it. That is what your property is worth. But how many times have I heard, but such and such sold down the street and my house is much better than their house. Well, your house may be better than their house, but is the market the same? Are the buyers still around at the moment? You just don't know. So I was the other day, someone from my networking event said, look, she met a lady who's having trouble selling her property. Would I be able to have a chat to her? I said, sure, no worries. Now this was it's down the coast, so it's not in Melbourne, it's down the coast. So I rang and spoke to this lady. Now this is an example of, well, I'll let you make the decision here. So I spoke to this lady and she said, look, it's been listed with real estate agent. And I said, how long has he had it? And she said, oh, he's had it since just before Christmas. So it's now, that was middle of March. Yeah, middle of March. So he's had it about maybe 2.5, 3 months. And she said he's not doing anything with it. Now the property is tenanted. Now it is or was a property that she was living in. And so, it has a secondary accommodation on site, and she was renting out part of the accommodation as an Airbnb. So she was generating some income while she was there. And it's now, she's moved into another property and it's been rented, and it's up to whatever the renters want to do, whether they want to do it as an Airbnb, it's irrelevant. So she's pitching it like that it is like an income property for somebody if they wanted to buy it from that. And she's saying nobody has been taken through the property. So it's all put through private inspection. You've got to book it in with the agent and do a private inspection. She said, yes, but over the Christmas break, there's been over 900 views on realestate.com.au. And I said, and the agent hasn't taken anybody through? And she said, no. And I said, what has the agent told you it's worth? And she goes, well, he's told me it's worth like 50,000 less or 70,000 less. But I can't take that because I've put all these additional things in there. I've put on solar and I've put on double glazing and I've done this and I've done that. And I'm thinking, it doesn't matter what you have done to the property if the market doesn't see the value of what you've spent on it. That's just facts. Overcapitalization is one of the terms that we use. So because this lady, when she lived in, this is another thing. When you live in a home, generally you will fix up a home how you like to live in a home, and you may add things that are important to you and may be quite expensive, but you're prepared to invest in putting those things in because it's your home and you're going to live there. The problem is that you may not see a return on that investment at the time when you start to want to sell. You often don't. So sometimes things that can't be seen that you have to fix up on a property are not always valued by the incoming purchaser. Things like electricals and plumbing and things like that, that oftentimes you have to fix because they cause other problems or they're dangerous. An incoming buyer doesn't care about that. They actually expect a house to not have any problems, unless it's a Renault Delight. Then they're coming in expecting that they have to fix some things up. Then they factor that into their budget. But if you've got a property that you've lived in, you're fixed in, and you're a buyer and you're walking into a property, you're going to factor in the fact that it's a property you're not going to have to do anything to your price. So where you're going over and above and add other things that other people aren't necessarily going to see value in, that's where you can come a bit unstuck in relation to your price when you're looking to sell. So I said, have you spoken to other real estate agents? So it's down the coast and there's only a limited number of agents, and apparently this agent is the best agent. He says he's the best. But in all this time, he's not had anybody come through the property, and she's had these 900 views over the Christmas break. And I said, look, realistically, that doesn't mean anything, because what happens over the Christmas break is people, I call it property porn. They are looking at realestate.com, that are just surfing, looking at properties. So if you've had all these views on your listing and no inquiries, nothing, no one's rung the agent, nothing, you're over on your price, because they're looking at the property and they're not seeing the value there. Otherwise, they would make a call. Because people are going to inquire on a property if they want to view it. So you've had nobody contact the agent, nobody make an inquiry even online or nothing. You had nothing. And the agent has told you that your property is worth less. Actually, let me think. She's saying she needs at least 800,000, I think it was. And I said, what did the agent say your property is worth? And she said 690 at best. So you're over 100,000. And so I'm thinking, I know what the problem is here. And it's likely not the agent, because constantly she was saying to me, I can't sell it for less because that's the money I need to do what I need to do. She wants to buy a house in Melbourne and she needs a certain, there's a changeover point. This is what happens when you're selling a house. Often you're selling a house to get the cash out to do whatever it is, the next step in your life. And so she's worked out, for her to buy the house that is the next step in her life, she needs to get X amount of money. And so the X amount of money requires her house to sell for 800,000, even though the agent is saying it's worth 100,000 less. And you've had zero inquiries at the 800. And I said, have you spoken to other agents? She said, yes, she has. And what are they valuing it at? Oh, they're valuing it the same that he's valuing it at. So not only has she had no inquiries at the higher price, she's spoken to other real estate agents local to the area that have seen the house, know the value of the house, and are telling her a different figure. And it's all the agent's fault. It's not. It's an unrealistic vendor. And we come across this sometimes, that vendors think their house is worth more than what the market is prepared to pay. And unfortunately for her, and I said to her, because she's sending me photos and sending me text messages, I pegged it straight away. The problem is that she's unrealistic on her price. If she was to meet the market on her price, then she would sell her property. Now, given it's been there for 3 months, 4 months, coming up on 4 months, no interest, no one making inquiries, no inspections, the problem is going to be that people are not seeing the value in it. I told her that. She doesn't want to hear that. So I said, look, you're going to have to make a decision. You either have to hold the house because you can't get the property, the price you want for your house, or you're going to have to meet the market on your price so that you can move on with your life and buy something else. She goes, well, I won't be able to do that because I won't get the money that I need. I said, well, that's your decision to make. I can't help you anymore. So sometimes people are not willing to listen to what the market is dictating about their property, about the price. So, look, she did text me and I can't help you anymore. I said that. I said, you're going to have to talk to your real estate agent. I can't help you. And I'm not prepared to take her on either, because why would I take on someone that is not realistic? Because then she's just going to transfer the issue across to me. And what I have found in my experience is often people will then start blaming you. So if I was to step in, because what are we going to do? We point another real estate agent who also tells you that your price is less than what you think you want, or not what you think it is. It's less than what you want. So we're not going to solve the problem for you, because the problem is you're unrealistic on your price. So I've just left that one there. But that just shows you that sometimes vendors, and I've spoken about this before with the underquoting side of things. So in my last episode of Property Mama, we talked about underquoting and why underquoting happens, because there is a whole mechanism, reasoning behind it. So if you are frustrated by underquoting, have a listen to my previous episode about that, because it's pretty clear as to why it's done. But what I will say, here's what I will say about underquoting. Underquoting happens. We know it happens. And in my opinion, I don't think it's ever going to get stamped out for the reasons I discussed in my previous podcast about that. Knowing that, and if you're in the market looking to buy a property, you need to understand the arena of the game you're stepping into. That's where we come in. So we are professionals. We're dealing with real estate agents all the time. But knowing that people underquote, because they do, then you need to know how to understand the value of the property. Now, let me say this, though. I was talking to a real estate agent through the week. Now, the brand of agency that he is with, they are known for underquoting. And there's another thing. Different agencies. I could tell you exactly which agents underquote, which ones are better at it. I say better at it, not better at underquoting. Actually price their properties accurately, and which ones underquote. And I was talking to an agent this week who is with one of the brands that are known for underquoting. And his particular property, which is online, when I was looking at properties for my client, I just went past it because I thought, nah, it's going to be over our budget. I rang him to see what else he might have available coming up that might be off market, etc. And he said, have you looked at such and such street? I said, well, I did, but that's going to go over our budget. And he goes, could hear the frustration in his voice. He says, no, I price my properties accurately. So if you give me the top of the guide price, a little bit under the guide price, then the vendor will likely take it. So it's interesting because what has happened in relation to the buyer psyche with prices that are displayed, or even talking to real estate agents around properties that are being sold, and when even the agents are telling them the pricing, buyers are not believing them and they're adding 10% on top, because if they've been in the market looking for any length of time, that has been their experience. That has become the buyer experience, that they cannot trust the real estate agent and what they're saying, which is very unfortunate. And I will say it's not always true, because there are a lot of great real estate agents out there, wonderful real estate agents. And unfortunately, in this industry that we're in, a few bad apples have, and there constantly seem to be bad apples coming in and out, a few bad apples taint the whole industry, which is a shame, because all it takes for a buyer is to have one crappy experience with a real estate agent, and it's what's out there out there in the public realm, as people think real estate agents are lie and don't tell the truth and are not great, all that kind of thing. And it's the bad apples which are like that cause a problem for the ones that are good. Now, like I said, I know there's lots of great agents because we deal with them. There are some really, really great operators, and they're wonderful to deal with. But it's unfortunate that many buyers have had an experience with that one ordinary agent with ordinary behaviour. And so what happens is that the agents that are doing the right thing in relation to how they price their properties, what they're advertising their properties for, to some level, it becomes they're done a disservice because the buyers don't believe them, because they're bundled in with all the bad apples. So it's really unfortunate. But if that's you, if you're concerned about working with real estate agents or having to deal with real estate agents, that's where we come in. So at Chamberlain Property Advocates, we support you. We are your independent voice, standing shoulder to shoulder with you and helping you buy properties. And it is through our real estate agent relationships that we are able to find properties that are yet to be advertised to the market. So referred to as off-market or pre-market. I think in the US they're called secret listings, pocket listings. It's through talking to agents, and as I said, I've been doing this for 28 years. I've got lots of relationships with lots of real estate agents. So the difference with working with an advocate versus you just showing up at a property is they don't know whether you're serious or not. It doesn't matter what you say, it's the actions. And likewise, let's put the shoe on the other foot. Whilst the buyers are out there thinking, oh, the agents are lying, the agents are having to deal with all the different buyers coming through a property. So let's put the shoe on the other foot for a moment. So you're a selling agent, you've got a property to sell, and you open it up, and your job is to get the property sold. And so of all the people coming through the property, you need to sift through all those people and work out who your one buyer is. So think about it. You're going to have neighbours coming through, sticky beaking and having a look, just wanting to see what the house looks like. You're going to have people, if it's a more modern house or whatever, you might have people coming and looking for renovation ideas, just trying to get some inspiration from the property. You'll have a number of people who have just started looking and don't have their finance sorted. If they're needing to buy subject to finance, which is most people, they haven't even got their finance sorted, and so they're not the buyer because they're not ready to buy. And so there is a process or a process or time frame that a buyer goes through initially when they start looking. They may be talking to their bank or mortgage broker and getting ready, but they're not ready yet. And so they're not the buyers. So the agent's having to sort through all the people coming through the property and determine who is their buyer. So it's why when an advocate comes in, they know we're ready. We have all of our ducks lined up. And I've mentioned this before. There are many, many moving parts to buy a property. So number one, you need to know all of the moving parts. Number two, you need to know the order in which the moving parts need to be placed. And it's how we buy real estate, often very quickly for clients, because we do all the due diligence steps that we need to, because I'm buying real estate every single day. That's what I do. I buy real estate. I love real estate. I absolutely love real estate. And I've been doing it a long time. That's why I love it. That's why I love my clients. I love my first home buyer clients as well. We work with lots of first home buyer clients. And I say smart people just never done it before because they might be time poor. There's lots of different reasons for coming to work with an advocate. But that's one of the main reasons is that why we have that access to properties that you in the general public may not have is because we have the relationships with those agents. And over the years, we have purchased properties and we've also sold through certain agents as well. And that opens up another world for us, because what I've found is that because through these relationships with real estate agents, that oftentimes when a property is for sale, that the agent that is selling it, i.e. the one that's listed, may not be the one. The likelihood is that when someone is looking to sell a property, they've brought a number of agents in. And so there's going to be other real estate agents that, whilst they may not have won the listing, they know the property and they're familiar with the property. And so we can get a little intel, get a little bit of intel about that property, which is different to the person that's selling the property, because they just want to sell the property. They don't really care. Whereas you can get a different conversation and opinion happening where it's an agent that you know and they know the property. Very, very interesting. So if that's you, if you're in the market at the moment and you're struggling to find a property, get in touch, chamberlainadvocates.com.au. We also offer a bid at auction service. So if you are not confident at bidding at auction, or if you're going to be interstate or overseas, then we offer that service to you. And we also negotiate to purchase properties for you. So if you found a property and need us to step in as professional negotiators working for you, we offer a negotiation only service as well. And of course, we have our full service where we hunt and find the properties for you. So hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Property Mama Adventures in Real Estate. I'm always having fun dealing with people in the industry. God, I love it. I do love real estate, love working with my clients. And I love when we buy a property for a client and that look on their face when they finally have their new home. Just love it. All right, Wendy Chamberlain, Chamberlain Property Advocates. Reach out via our social channels if you'd need a hand, if you've got any questions, if you'd like a topic covered on a future episode of Property Mama. Just head to our website or pop it into a DM on one of our social platforms, and we'll be in touch to answer any of your questions. I wish you a great day, and I'll see you again soon.